Microservices architecture is an approach to developing a single application as a suite of small services, each running in its own process and communicating with lightweight mechanisms. The idea is that independently deployable services are organized around business capabilities rather than technology tiers, and are hence built by cross-functional teams to create a product mentality. There's an ongoing relationship between the software and the business community that needs it. Applications built in microservices aim to be as decoupled and cohesive as possible, receiving a request, applying logic, and producing a response. This encourages a federated model of governance, where each problem is solved using the technology and patterns best suited to it, including the ability for services to manage their own data. We therefore have transactionless coordination between services, with explicit recognition that consistency may only be eventual consistency, and so problems are dealt with by compensating operations. All this requires a lot of automation, without which the entire development, test and release process would be unmanageable. We also design for failure. We are now stateless where we need to be and use the infrastructure to compensate for this, and focus on composing systems over time. Decentralized data management means it's harder to keep data consistent. It's a price you pay for microservice independence. To reduce the impact, some take a data-centric view, where a number of microservices share a common data store. Whilst convenient, who wants a new database for each service? It is schema intolerant, as you create deployment dependencies between microservices. The alternative is interaction-centric. This removes schema dependency between microservices, but it makes it harder to track and roll back transactions to ensure consistency. If we genuinely believe in smart endpoints and dumb pipes, then we either have to code this compensation process into the endpoints along with the happy paths, which is complex and likely to result in design flaws, or revert to centralized orchestration such as Beeple, a single point of failure and works against our other microservice principles. A better model is to express the choreography at a higher level of abstraction. This takes us so far, but still doesn't mean that our architecture is going to be optimal. What we, just like the giants of the microservices game, have found is that we not only need to abstract microservice choreography, but to monitor the live processes. Remember, we are building microservices architecture with just enough upfront design and with a product rather than project view of the world. New services have been added and others retired all the time, so we need to know what impact this has on the live system. One company that has cracked this is Uber, which uses open tracing events rather than logs, and then draws transactions together in Jaeger using a transaction or correlation ID. This enables much faster diagnosis of issues, which feeds back into the development lifecycle. So, what should you do now? Change the way you think and do what Uber does. This gives you the voice of the machine, which informs your evolving design. In the next video, we'll show you how you can compare this to the voice of the business using Scribble. For now, it's enough to get those microservices under control.